Welcome to your Artsy Girl podcast. I am your host, Christina Carrere. This is a podcast about art, poetry, writing, and anything about creativity. Sit back, relax, and get your dose of brain food to get your creative juices flowing. Welcome to episode 34. Today's featured guest is Heidi Luerra. She is the founder and CEO of RAW, Natural Born Artists, the world's largest independent arts organization. For almost 20 years, Heidi has worked with creatives and artists of all types. Originally a Northern California native, Heidi moved to Los Angeles at age 18 to fulfill her dream of being a fashion designer, in turn earning her business stripes the hard way as an independent creative entrepreneur. Over the past decade, Heidi has grown RAW to a worldwide operation in over 80 cities with almost 200,000 artists in the RAW community. She currently oversees a team of 60 from RAW headquarters in downtown Los Angeles. On September 17th, 2019, which was just recently, Heidi launched her first book, The Work of Art, a no-nonsense field guide for creative entrepreneurs, written by a creative entrepreneur who has endured her share of nonsense. Everyone, please welcome my next featured guest, Heidi Luerra.
Hi, Heidi. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm honored to have you on your Artsy Girl podcast. But before we talk about your work, tell us more about you. For starters, as you like to ask, where you were born and where did you grow up?
I am a Northern California girl through and through. I was born in the Bay Area and lived there until I was about 10. And then we had a giant earthquake and my mom was like, we're out of here immediately. So we moved to a small town called Redding, California. That's about 2 hours south of Oregon and 2 hours north of Sacramento-ish. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So tip-top of California, and that's pretty much where I grew up. That's what I consider home. And I also lived in Australia for a year, randomly wedged in there somewhere. But I've lived in LA now for going on 17, 18 years, I think.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so LA is home, but California girl through and through. I've lived all up and down.
Okay, so fast forward to now. Please explain to us what it is that you do exactly, and how did you get there?
Sure. I'll give you the Cliff Notes because it's a long story.
Okay.
I'm the founder and CEO of RAW Natural Born Artists. We're the world's largest arts organization, independent arts organization. We operate out of downtown Los Angeles, but we have showcases where we feature emerging arts in film, fashion, music, visual arts, photography, hair and makeup, accessories, photography. I already said photography. And craft and tech. So our mission is to provide tools, resources, exposure, and education to artists everywhere. And so we operate in 80 cities around the world, hosting showcases and kind of garnering and bolstering the creative community to connect and showcase their work and put themselves out there.
Wow.
So, yeah,
I did go on the website, and it is pretty extensive. It is pretty extensive, I have to say. Yeah. But okay, so how did you get into it, though?
Yeah, so that's the long story, I guess. But
okay.
I started when I was a kid. I always knew I wanted to be a fashion designer. That was my number one priority and dream and focus. And so 3 months out of high school graduation, I moved to Los Angeles and I started my own clothing line about a year after and started trying to market myself and showcase my line anywhere I could. And I was, just starting out. So I wasn't ready to go to a showroom or a, big retail store or anything of that nature. I was more looking to go direct to consumer. And at that point, this is like 2004, there wasn't really, all these art collectives and collaborative showcases back then. So I decided to kind of take matters into my own hands. I was popping up at like swap meets and anyone who would give me space. and decided at a certain point it wasn't sustainable and it wasn't really my target demographic. And I wanted, to show my stuff on a runway, to be able to sell it direct to people who would be interested in buying it, rather than kind of, the weekend bargain hunter style things. Right. So yeah, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, but I kind of gathered all of my creative friends. I said, hey guys, I'm going to throw a show. Do you want to be a part of it? We all pitched in a little bit of money. This was in 2005. And we had a really successful fashion, music, and art showcase. Wow. And it was kind of the first of its kind. Like, no one had really mixed those things together on a large scale. So we had about 750 people show up. Once again, had zero clue what I was doing. But there seemed to be a real hunger for it in the community. And I expected it to be a one-time thing. And then I had people coming to me, tons of different people coming to me afterwards, whether they were referring their own creative friends or had their own creative projects, or, they had a band or a collection of paintings or something that have been sitting in their garage, and they were like, I want to be a part of the next one. I was like, there is no next one. I don't know what you're talking about. At least there wasn't in my mind at that point. But it suddenly became this kind of organic movement. And I guess, I tapped into something that I just wanted for myself and my friends. And it turned out to be, there's a real appetite for it. So hosted another show and another show and another show after that. And after a while, I found myself kind of less focused on my line, and I wanted to spend all my energy on kind of creating this platform. I was also pretty precocious when I was young. I had a showroom internship at a really young age and was selling other people's clothing lines to buyers and learning a lot about the fashion industry. Things that I probably had no business, being in a showroom at the young age that I was, but I learned a ton and therefore was able to help, the fashion designers and things that I was working with on kind of some of the professionalism and how to sell and how to speak, and shake hands properly and eye contact and all of, the basic things that no one really teaches you in school, but you need to know. So yeah, that's kind of how it happened. It was very organic. That was a different show. I ran that for 3 years. Did some work in the corporate world and kind of just fell into the event space as well, because people were attending our events in the thousands. And so organically people were calling us saying, hey, can you produce my film premiere or my fashion show and things like that. So I kind of did freelance and corporate work for a while, but I really sorely just missed building a platform. So Raw emerged with all of my previous experience in 2009. And so we've been around for over 10 years now. Wow. So that's kind of the Cliff Note version.
So it's like you're like an arts management kind of thing.
Some people have called us that. We don't work one-on-one necessarily with artists on their individual careers. I think we're an online-offline platform. So if you go to our website, we have close to 200,000 artists all across the world who have joined our community, and they have portfolios. They showcase their music, videos, upload photos, so you can view all of them there. There's also our showcases are kind of our main platform, because there wasn't an approachable entity way back when. So we've created these multifaceted art showcases. Like if you walk into a Raw event, you're going to see a pop-up art gallery. Mm-hmm. There's the accessory designers. We have tech installations, which is a newer form for us that we just launched this past year. You have makers and handmade crafters, and then there's a whole stage show with live music, fashion shows, performing artists of all different types. It could be dancers or a fire eater, or
so this is all going on at the same time.
Sometimes, simultaneously. Yeah, the stage has kind of a show flow, but the gallery is buzzing all night. So. Yeah, so it's a really multifaceted showcase, and so some people have compared us to like almost like a PR opportunity for artists to put themselves out there. But what we call ourselves, we're a showcase, we're an online, offline community, we're a platform for artists. We help every artist that participates and commits to our showcase kind of move through the process. It's a really great process for people that have never shown their work before, because we provide equipment and we manage the whole process for you in the sense of making sure that you're set up for success, because there's going to be 800 to 1,000 people, looking at your work, listening to your music, watching your fashion show. So and
then anybody, so have you had any success stories, like someone got discovered or
anything? Absolutely. I mean, they are too hard to keep track of, seriously. Like I don't even hear about them until years later, like, oh, I see these two artists collaborating on Facebook or something, and I was like, wait, how do you guys know each other? Oh, we met at the Raw show. And now they have a clothing line together or something. So I feel like they're about a lot of them, but there are tons. And I don't like to really take credit or have Raw take credit for their successes, because they're talented all on their own. We just gave them an opportunity. But there have been visual artists that have been picked up by galleries. One of our fashion designers launched his clothing line at Raw in 2015 and was just on Project Runway and made it to the top 10. We've had a couple of designers that have been on the top 10, but again, they're part of our community, but it's not because they participated with Raw that they are at those heights now. It may have taught them something and been a stepping stone in a building block, but we don't like to hey, look at us, we made them famous. That's not what we do.
Okay. Well, I was just curious. And then I guess anybody interested would go and submit on your website if they wanted to be one of the participating artists there.
They can go to rawartist.com and submit, and someone on our curation team will review their submission, and we'll see if it's a good fit, artistically and professionally. And if that's the case, then we set up a phone call and tell you all about it. And if it's a good fit for the artist and us, then we'll move forward. And each artist is assigned a showcase director, and they typically do a showcase that is near or in their hometown. Mm-hmm. And we have a plethora of other, benefits, that it's not just a one and done showcase. We are a community. We have educational tools and resources on the back end. We have lots of things to help guide you, and tips and tricks on getting ready and making sure that you're putting your most professional self forward. So
very good.
Yeah.
Wow. That's truly amazing. And you're still going out. And so you're in multiple cities then, right?
Yeah, we're in 80 cities around the world. So we're in pretty much every major metropolitan city you can think of in the U.S.
Are you in Tampa?
No, not Tampa.
Oh, I knew it.
Orlando and Miami, yes.
Oh, Orlando, yeah.
I guess it's you name the one. We're not it.
Okay. I'm used to it.
But we're in Australia and Canada as well. And then we just launched in Mexico City this last November, and Guadalajara literally last month. So we're going to be doing some more showcases in Mexico, which I'm really excited about, because the art is just phenomenal there, and their creative culture is incredible.
Yeah, I heard. So I also understand you have a new book out.
I do.
Tell us about it.
It is called The Work of Art, and it's a no-nonsense field guide for creative entrepreneurs. And essentially, it is a business book for artists, because I know the one thing that we all tend to shy away from and not delve into is the business side of our work and how to really create something sustainable that has some longevity. So after I've worked with artists, been an artist for almost 20 years at this point, and Raw, like I said, has been around for a little over 10. So I feel like I've caught wind and have seen time and time again artists make these, mistakes here and there, myself included. I have lots of lessons I learned the hard way, and I felt like it was really timely to write all this stuff down and give artists a guide for what not to do and what to do to ensure that they can have a creative career, because it is possible, but you do have to kind of grow some business acumen in the process. And it's not overly complicated, but there are two sides of being a success long term. And so that's really what the book is about. It's about all the work that it takes. It includes my personal story of kind of how I started and how I got to start Raw. And then I also am featuring 15 creative entrepreneurs throughout the book that I've worked with that are successful and downright just amazingly talented humans that have kind of arrived at their own level of success that they could be proud of, and kind of sharing their bridge stories. So you don't just take my word for it. There's other people in there that are like, yep, this is a real thing. You got to be prepared for this. And, this is what they learned, etc. So
this is the not to be a starving artist guide.
No, exactly. It's saying the opposite. It's saying you don't need to starve.
No.
It's completely possible to have a creative career and one that, pays your bills and that you're passionate about working on, but it takes the work. And I'm definitely very honest in it about what it honestly takes. And I feel like it's also for the modern day creative. A lot of the books that I've read for creatives in the past have been like, kind of whimsical and, more teaching you how to be more creative, where I don't think that people have a problem being creative most of the time. I think we've got this down. I think it's, all of the other things, building a business, budgeting, investing, saving, working out a plan, even down to I'm covering mental health in this book as well, because that's something that, we as artists and creative people grapple with a lot. So that's part of it too. So I tried to be really thoughtful about what I was writing in this book and making sure that it was one, just like honest and real, because I feel like so many people sugarcoat it. And especially I self-published this book, so I was able to kind of say what I wanted to say without it being filtered too much. And so far the feedback that I've received from the book is that's what people are enjoying about it.
So could your formula or your suggestions can apply to various creatives, like writers?
Absolutely.
Okay. So it can go cross genres?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a business book for creatives and for people who have an entrepreneurial spirit and want to take their creative work of any sort in a direction. It's not like, teaching you how to stretch canvas or do anything of that nature. It's very much a business book for creatives, but I hope it's a relatable one, and it's not, it's not a textbook full of dry this and do this and make sure that you're, at least I don't feel like it's that way. But
well, I have to say this is very timely because, my podcast features nothing but artists, writers, and this would be perfect for the audience because, hey, I'm sure we all need to kind of like brush up on some of those skills or learn new ones to kind of do the business end of our work, which tends to get neglected most times because I don't like it.
Yeah, I know. It's not exactly.
But I know it's necessary though, right? I know it's necessary. Like when you start a project, like say this podcast, right now it's my labor of love. I'm putting money into it. And at some point, I would like to have it kind of be sustainable, and hopefully keep going and doing its good work there for artists and writers. But,
Right.
so that's where I'm at, and I can totally dig your book. I really like to check it out because of that.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think you hit it on the head there because we can all love to do what we do, right? We do love what we do. We're passionate about it. It is a labor of love, especially when you're starting out. You have to invest that time and energy. There's just no other way around that. And you won't get paid right away to do all the things that you love to do. And I think what we fail to kind of recognize sometimes as creatives is that it takes a balance between our intrinsic love for doing something and fueling it through some type of income in order for it to sustain. Because if you don't have, the income part, or you have income but you have no passion, I've seen it, I've seen artists start without a dime to start with, entrepreneurs without a dime to start with, myself included, $0 on my kitchen table, like literally. And you can't survive without that passion, but you also can't survive long term and keep doing what you're doing and provide the service that you're providing, or the passion or the love that you're putting into something if you also can't feed yourself. So it really is finding that balance between the two. And it can be really difficult. A lot of people don't like talking about money and art, melding or working together, but it's absolutely necessary.
It is. It is. I mean, there's so many projects that have gone under because, it just couldn't sustain itself. And that's unfortunate. I've taken a lot of similar courses in like art management, how to manage your own art business. And that was years ago. So you're right. At this time, it's kind of different because we're in a different environment now as artists where you have to deal with social media, digital stuff, things like that. Gosh, I hope that my audience would definitely take a look at your book and check it out and apply those things to their work, and hopefully we will all become successful.
Yeah, it's not it's not going to make you famous by reading it.
Right. No. But I mean, anything that can help.
And like you were just saying, the landscape has changed. We're in a digital age right now. And I would argue that this is the best time to be an independent artist because you can be, there's not these barriers to showing your work or showing it to thousands of people or even someone in another country. The floodgates have opened.
Well, shoot, talk about this podcast. I get calls from everywhere now. So, I mean, it's just truly amazing. There are no boundaries. I can talk to someone, in China or, in Costa Rica or wherever have you, and still engage and have a conversation and have exchange of ideas. So you're right.
Is awesome. Yeah, we wouldn't be able to do this 20, 25 years ago.
Nope.
So it's never been a better time to be an independent artist, and there's so much at your fingertips.
So what are your current projects and goals right now? I know you got your book, and it's just, when did it come out?
It literally came out last Tuesday, September 17th. So it's brand new. It's on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. Amazon is shipping the fastest, so I recommend that. But yeah, that's going to be my focus for the next, I'm sure for a while. But my main, obviously, I'm also running an international company as well. So we have our 2020 plans coming up and have a lot of irons in the fire for what we're going to be doing in the next year. This time of the year is always, we're already thinking a year ahead at this point. So we're going to be working on some educational resources for artists and doing some really cool things that I'm super excited about. So
yeah, I look forward to learning more about that. Definitely. Yeah. So you have your group of people that you work with, and you kind of have it in auto drive a little bit, huh?
Yeah, for the most part. We have a really great team. We have about 60 employees here that work out of our downtown LA office. And there's a bunch of other, there's an office in Sydney and an office in Toronto, and they kind of run their own teams as well. So there's another 20 of us strung out across the world. But yeah, I don't know if I would say it's on autopilot quite yet, but it's certainly a different day-to-day than it used to be when we were first starting out.
Right.
But yeah, it's still a lot of work, and I think it is nice at this point, being 10 years in, we've untangled a lot of the foundational issues, and now we get to kind of have fun and add icing on the cake to,
That's great.
So potentially, I'm still figuring it out, but I might be potentially doing some book signings and stuff on the East Coast next year. And things of that nature. I might be coming to the Miami area because I know that's kind of where you are.
Yes.
So, kind of.
Well, maybe we can collabo and bring the podcast over there and chat with people. It'd be great.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah. So they can sign up for my mailing list if they're interested in book signings. And I also have an audiobook coming out soon, so I'll be announcing that when it is available. Yeah, so those are all the places, I think.
I'm sure there's also some people who might be interested in being an artist in Raw. Mm-hmm.
Well, we run year round, so we're always looking at applications, and we welcome anyone who's interested to submit. Yeah.
Do you go to Connecticut too?
Yes, we have a show in Connecticut.
Hartford
is one place we have in Hartford.
Well, no, because I have a daughter out there. She's a creative too, and I would love to talk to her about that.
Yeah, it's a really creative city. It is. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we are. Yeah, you can look at all of the cities that we're in on our website. In the right-hand side of the homepage, there's a little select your city, and you can see all the different ones that we're in across the world.
Great. Well, Heidi, it's been great talking to you and learning more about you and your work. I wish you the very best of luck, and please stay in touch, okay?
Yes, we will. Thanks so much, Christine. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Well, everyone, that is it for now. Please tune in next week for my next featured guest. In the meantime, have a productive and creative week. Bye, Heidi.
Bye-bye.
Bye.